This story is about Yoto, a peeping-tom high school student who wants to be seen in a way different from most men. However, his indecent actions are often misinterpreted as good intentions and people cannot see his true nature. Intrigued by tales of a cat statue that can remove unwanted qualities, Yoto seeks it out. He hopes to shed his misleading exterior, however every wish has a cost, transferring his undesired traits to someone else who seeks them. After that, he realizes that vocalizing his dirty thoughts is not the best thing, so now Yoto must resolve not just his issues, but also those of others affected by the statue's powers. While doing so, he also gets his harem and gets to clap the girls he's been wanting. Yoto pretends to do squats after school, but he's secretly using the exercise as an excuse to spy on the girls' swimming club. His spying is interrupted when Tsukushi, the track and field club captain, catches him. Instead of scolding him, she praises his dedication to working out in all weather conditions and appoints him as the next captain of the team, unaware of his true motivations. Fearing Tsukushi's wrath if she discovers his real reasons for the squats, Yoto decides to lie and accept the role with gratitude. On his way home, he vents to his best friend about the frustration of pretending to be someone he's not. His friend, who is acting a little too innocent, reveals that he had visited the stony cat statue to wish away his impure thoughts, which had worked. Motivated by his friend's story, Yoto takes his body pillow Barbara to the stony cat statue that night. He is planning to wish for the courage to be more honest about his true desires. At the statue, he encounters Suo, who initially thinks he's creepy when she sees the body pillow. After some chasing where Yoto yells for her to stop resisting, he manages to clear things up. He pins her down in his confusion and she panics. Suo tells Yoto that she wants to preserve her virginity until she is well developed and so that he can appreciate her better when the time comes. They eventually clear up the misunderstanding and laugh about it. They share their desires at the statue. Yoto wants to be more honest and Suo wants to hide her emotions to appear more mature. They make their wishes together but see no immediate signs of change, except for a missing meat bun and a missing belt from the body pillow, which they didn't care much about. The next day at school, Yoto witnesses Azuki, a rich girl known for her cruel rejections, breaking another boy's heart. This earns her the nickname Unbeatable Princess. Suddenly, he blurts out an honest but inappropriate comment about her being flat-chested. Azuki is shocked and Yoto is horrified by his honesty. Despite trying to apologize, he again uncontrollably comments on her appearance, praising her flatness, which only adds to the confusion and embarrassment of the situation. Yoto tries to escape his embarrassment, but accidentally bumps into Tsukushi, blurting out a comment about her figure and what he wants to do with them, which makes him run off even more embarrassed. This incident earns him the nickname Hentai Prince. Then after school, he sees a girl he barely recognizes and she grabs him. They trip and fall into each other, acting out their awkward first encounter. She's Suo. She tells him in an emotionless and mature way that she finds their position embarrassing. Realizing their wishes at the stony cat statue have indeed come true, Suo loses her ability to express emotions and Yoto his ability to lie. They head back to the statue. According to legend, their lost traits were transferred to someone else who needed them. Suo is saddened by what's happening, so Yoto tries to make her laugh by tickling her. After failing to make her laugh, they decided to find these people to get their traits back. The next day at school, Yoto ends up in the infirmary. Suo nurses him while he explains what happened. He explains that he blurted out another inappropriate comment to Tsukushi about her appearance and got knocked out. While talking with Suo, Azuki woke up from the noise. Yoto starts blurting out more honest comments, embarrassing Azuki. Yoto and Suo notice that Azuki's necklace looks similar to the belt from Yoto's body pillow, Barbara, leading them to conclude that Azuki now has Yoto's ability to lie. Determined to retrieve his ability, Yoto confronts Azuki and tries to provoke her into returning his trait to him. He declares his desire to stay by her side forever. She agrees in one condition, that Yoto becomes her pet. Over the next few days, Yoto follows Azuki everywhere like a dog as part of his plan to make her give up his old ability. When this doesn't work, Yoto and Suo decide to go to an animals-themed maid cafe to come up with a new plan. However, Suo is disappointed to learn that Yoto just wanted to see girls in cute costumes and not go on a real date. To their surprise, they find Azuki working at the cafe. Both Azuki and Suo think Yoto followed Azuki there because he's a creepy stalker. After a while, Azuki, embarrassed by their teasing about her outfit, runs away. Yoto and Suo agree to talk to her after her shift ends. But as it starts to rain, Yoto and Suo take shelter in front of a love hotel, which prompts some unwelcome thoughts in Yoto.
だってこんなダメだよ僕たちまだ高校生だしそういうのは愛がないとしかしそう言いつつも建前を失った普通
This makes Suo ponder if they look like a couple. She's embarrassed but thankful that she can't show her emotions because of the Stony Cat's curse. When the sun comes out, they accidentally run into Azuki again, who is now working at a construction site. Yoto discovers she's been doing various part-time jobs and even sleeping at school to maintain the appearance of being wealthy. When Azuki scolds him for stalking her, Yoto tries to explain he was just keeping close without her knowing. Suddenly, Yoto asks Azuki out on a date, which she agrees to, saying it's a master's responsibility to look after her pets. Suo, who has been eavesdropping, confronts Yoto about his intentions with Azuki. He insists it's all part of his plan to retrieve his ability to lie. Suo, unconvinced and feeling jealous, decides to spy on her date. On the day of the date, Yoto takes Azuki shopping for a wedding dress. Azuki panics, saying she's not ready for marriage or anything related.
なんなの突然だから庶民の結婚について2人で真剣に考えようと早いでしょ早すぎるでしょまだそんな段階
When Yoto says he's ready to take responsibility, Azuki punches him in the stomach. Seeing the date go downhill, Suo steps in, leading to a confrontation between the two girls over Yoto. However, the group decides to go to an arcade to keep the date going. There, Suo shows off her skills by effortlessly winning a stuffed turtle for Azuki and gathers a crowd with her drum playing. Although the girls are getting along, Azuki becomes upset when Yoto mentions the topic of friends. Azuki confesses she feels she has none. After that, she heads to the restroom. During her absence, Tsukushi, Suo's older sister, appears and confronts Yoto about his double date with Suo and Azuki. They quickly flee to avoid Tsukushi's anger. When Azuki returns and finds she's been abandoned, she feels betrayed.
ごめんなさいまた
Soon after, she is harassed by two girls from her old school who mock her for being alone at the arcade. After they leave, Yoto tries to approach her, but Azuki coldly refuses him, thinking the date was a setup to make fun of her, and runs off in tears.
今日のデートも別に目的があったんでしょ気にしてないから
The next day, Yoto goes to Azuki's apartment to apologize and clear up the misunderstanding, but she refuses to speak with him. Desperately, he sits in front of her room and talks to her. After talking with Azuki and not getting a desirable response, Yoto talks with Azuki's mom. She tells Yoto that Suo also came to visit Azuki, which makes her happy for her daughter. Yoto and Suo climb up the hill to the Stony Cat statue again. Suo and Yoto talked about their visits to Azuki while chatting. Yoto makes another comment about Suo's lips, but because of her curse, she shows no reaction at all and just wipes her lips. The next morning, while on the train, Yoto thinks about what they talked about last night. Yoto meets with two girl schoolmates at a cafe and confronts them about bullying. Those two girls are Azuki's old friends. Because of an incident before, Azuki felt like she was betrayed by these two girls. Now she's very defensive from people trying to be friends with her, like what happened with Yoto and Suo. Yoto goes back to Azuki's apartment and forcefully takes Azuki with him. Azuki tries to break free, but her mom calls for a taxi and even tells them to enjoy their stroll. While inside the car, Azuki and Yoto chat for a while. He tells her that he is starting to understand her feelings. He tells her that she is cute the way she is. The taxi arrives at the destination and Azuki is barefooted, so she asks Yoto to carry her to the top of the hill. Azuki questions if Yoto would fall for her if she were more genuine. He honestly replies that he doesn't have romantic feelings for her, which leaves her speechless.
見だけ見てもドキドキしないし、さっきの話は普通の人に適用されるって意味でね。
At the statue, Yoto fully explains how he wished to be more honest, how Azuki ended up with his ability to lie, and how his true motive for getting close to her was just to retrieve his ability. Hurt by the truth, Azuki cries and angrily scolds Yoto, feeling used.
何よ、どうせ建前を返してほしいだけなんでしょ。
まあね。
バカ。
でもそれとは別に。
In the end, she decides to wish on the stony statue to return her ability to lie to Yoto. With the air cleared and their issues resolved, they agree to continue being friends at school, despite the rocky past. One night, Suo is at a kindergarten wearing a mask, when she stumbles from the playground where Yoto is sneaking like a pervert. Yoto has no idea that it is Suo. She explains that she wants to make meaningful conversations with the children because she wants to be a kindergarten teacher. While talking, a leaf flies inside Suo's uniform, which startles her. She lifts her uniform and asks Yoto to take out what she thought was a bug, and Yoto, always the pervert, takes his chance to touch her.
おお、神様。いざ尋常にごめん。この芸術的に美しいおへそに虫が入っちゃ大変だ。世界の平和は僕が守る。
The next day, Suo secretly overhears Azuki inviting Yoto out, which Yoto misunderstands as just a casual hangout. Later, after school, when Yoto runs into Suo, he thanks her for helping him regain his ability to lie. Suo, in turn, asks him to show his gratitude by going on a date with her, and Yoto quickly agrees. Suo also asks Yoto to watch her performance that she prepared for the kindergarten students. It is called Mooncat. Suo is the main character in this presentation. She shows her new masks to Yoto, who is also a character in the presentation. The cat mask makes her famous among the kindergartens. This makes Suo very happy. Yoto still doesn't recognize her behind her mask. Finally, Suo reveals that she will attend the same school as Yoto. Suo does not reveal her true identity to Yoto and tells him that if they meet at school, it will be fate. The presentation ends and Yoto praises Suo's illustrations with an unconvinced facade. Suo realized that it is too plain and explains that it is hard for her because she can't show any emotions. While chatting, Suo claims she would make a better wife than Azuki, boasting about her cooking skills and excellent massages, though she swiftly declines Yoto's request for a massage. As they continue to talk, Suo confesses that she feels responsible for the strained relationship with her sister, Tsukushi. She explains that after their parents died, she relied heavily on her sister for support, often crying. That is why Suo tried to hide her emotions using the statue to avoid being a burden. Meanwhile, Azuki is on the phone with Suo and thanks Suo for her help and for the stuffed toy she got when Azuki and Yoto went to the cat statue. But the next day, Azuki received a ton of assignments and projects from her teacher, so she can't enjoy her vacation. Yoto notices Azuki and boosts her morale, but instead of offering, he tells Azuki that he will pray for her and leaves her. Later, Yoto visits the track and field club to visit Tsukushi, but is immediately threatened for taking her younger sister out. Thanks to his restored ability to make up a lie, Yoto fabricates a tale about having an identical twin brother who is to blame for everything, which Tsukushi surprisingly believes. While discussing siblings, Yoto learns that Tsukushi was the one who made the Stony Cat statue as an apology to Suo when they were younger. The next day, Yoto and Suo finally go on their planned date, where Suo uses Yoto's cosplay expertise to help her pick out a cute costume for an event. Yoto accidentally walks in on her changing, but Suo forgives him, quickly knowing well that Yoto, the impure prince, couldn't be fully trusted. After seeing Suo off at the end of the date, Yoto is caught by Tsukushi, who opposes the idea of Yoto's twin brother dating her little sister.
後輩の横寺ならいざ知らず貴様に部長呼ばわりされる筋合いはない。
As they argue, Tsukushi expresses her desire to sever ties with Suo because she finds her too emotional in tough situations. Tsukushi doesn't believe Suo's recent emotionless behaviors have anything to do with the Stony Cat statue. Determined to resolve the situation, Tsukushi decides to destroy the stony cat statue once and for all, knocking out Yoto when he tries to stop her. When Yoto regains consciousness, he finds himself lying in Suo's lap. Yoto reports to Suo what Tsukushi tells him and what she's planning to do. But Suo seems to not care about it, not just because of her curse, but also because she thinks that what her sister is doing is the better way.
それに表情なんてもともと必要なかったのです。表情が戻れば子供っぽい私を姉さんはますます嫌うでしょう。このままでいた方がきっと。
Yoto urges Suo to take action, but Suo still denies to act. She tells him that she's afraid that they will no longer interact if she returns to normal. Eager to help, Yoto asks Azuki to challenge Tsukushi. Tsukushi and Azuki turn out to be school rivals. Azuki sends a letter for a challenge to Tsukushi, but it is Yoto who is going to meet with Tsukushi. Yoto meets Tsukushi at the Stony Cat statue after school. There, he offers his underwear to the statue, wishing to lose his tendency to flee from problems, and declares his love for Suo.
見るがいい。パンツを捧げて俺は邪魔な羞恥心を捨てた。鋼鉄の王父隠し月子をかけて俺と勝負だ。月子。
But as a younger sister, he also proclaims that he cares for her more deeply than Tsukushi could. This confession leads Tsukushi to beat him up. Tsukushi stops beating Yoto and tells him the story behind her and Suo. She tells him that her feelings for her are bigger than this. During the confrontation, Suo appears from behind the tree to stop the fight. She asks Yoto and Tsukushi to apologize to her. When they are apologizing, Tsukushi shockingly confesses her romantic love for Suo, stating she wants to sever ties to marry her in Massachusetts. Suo swiftly rejects this idea. Tsukushi then summons the Stony Cat, which returns a meat bun containing Suo's expressions. Suo, however, chooses to give it to Tsukushi, wishing for her sister to be able to tell and act how she really feels. Later, during summer vacation, the effects of the Stony Cat's powers seem to have faded and life has returned to normal. Yoto is puzzled by Suo's distant behavior and is stunned to discover that his house has vanished. Meanwhile, Azuki goes on vacation with the girls who once bullied her, a trip Yoto arranged to help them reconcile. While Yoto and Suo struggle to find his missing house, Azuki is upset, mistakenly believing Yoto would join them. As it begins to rain, Suo invites Yoto to stay over at her house, an offer he eagerly accepts. After taking a bath at Suo's place and indulging in impure thoughts, Yoto bumps into Suo and Tsukushi naked, which embarrasses Tsukushi and piques Suo's curiosity.
止めるな。月子をかどわかす男はやつだけに。部長、お風呂いただいてます。As a form of punishment, Tsukushi wraps Yoto in a futon, a situation he surprisingly enjoys until she truly punishes him. Meanwhile, Azuki is still wondering why Yoto did not meet with her and the other two girls. That is when the two girls confront Azuki about her feelings for Yoto. She reveals to him that she likes Yoto, but suddenly one of the two girls, Mori, collapses. The doctor tells them that it's just a slight cold, so Azuki and the other girls sleep beside Mori. When Mori wakes up, Azuki explains what happened. That night, as Tsukushi sleeps on top of the futon-wrapped Yoto, he tries to escape only to be stopped by a sleep-talking Tsukushi. She reveals her fears of Tsukiko leaving her. Once freed, Yoto takes a stroll around the girls' houses and sees Suo taking a bath, who thinks that Yoto is her sister. When Suo turns around, she sees Yoto and gives him a death stare. Just when Yoto is leaving, Tsukushi stops her and tries to beat him again. 完璧なクズだな。
Luckily, Yoto evades Tsukushi's beatings and he accidentally discovers a storage room filled with his missing belongings, including a large stony cat statue.
散らかってるな。筒隠し。うわっ！え？バーバラさん？どうしてここに？っていうか、これ僕の部屋のベッドじゃないか。後から思えば僕はまんまと誘い込まれたのかもしれない。この奇妙な無表情を浮かべたもう一つの笑わない猫に
When Suo finds Yoto sleeping in his storage room, he shares his discovery, suspecting the statue might be involved in his house's disappearance. The next day during training, Yoto asks Tsukushi about the cat statue and learns it's a deity her family worships. Below the school staircase, Yoto discusses this with Tsukushi, the strange happenings, and tells her it's just his twin's imagination. He also blamed his made-up twin for the incidents that happened with Suo and Tsukushi in their house. Tsukushi asks Yoto if she can kill his twin and threatens his twin while crushing fruits with her bare hands, which frightens Yoto even more. That night, while Yoto is in the storage room, Azuki calls to complain about him not contacting her during her vacation. Jokingly, Yoto says he'd love to see her in the swimsuit, and suddenly Azuki falls on top of him, revealing the statue's power to grant wishes. Yoto explains to Azuki what happened and clears the commotion. Azuki and Yoto conclude that the cat statue on top of the hill takes one's traits if you wish on it, and the huge cat statue at Suo's house brings you things you wish. Out of nowhere, Azuki wishes for Yoto to play with her belly button, then a case full of toys and handcuffs appear. Yoto cuffs Azuki and starts playing with her belly button, embarrassing her even more. When Azuki wishes for him to stop, the cuffs and toys disappear, and Yoto comes to his senses and stops harassing Azuki. Azuki enters Suo's main house and sees her doing chores while singing. He compliments Suo and she tells him that she's happy because he compliments her, though it did not show in her face because of her curse. Yoto notices that Suo is wearing a shirt from last night, but he is too dumb to realize Suo's real feelings. Soon after, Tsukushi appears and tries to seduce Yoto to distance him from Suo, fearing she might leave her. While eating dinner, Tsukushi and Azuki are competing over Yoto's affection, and as the pervert that he is, he enjoys all the attention so much. After eating dinner, Yoto and Suo cleans the dishes while chatting. Suo confirms with Yoto how Azuki appears in the house using the cat's power and confesses that it might be because of her wish that Yoto's house vanished, and Suo apologizes to Yoto. Yoto is resting in his bed inside the storage when Tsukushi jumps over him and starts seducing him again. In the heat of their conversation, Tsukushi impulsively wishes for the world to collapse and the building starts to crumble. While everyone is collapsing, Yoto somehow ends up on top of Tsukushi and massages her watermelons. Yoto and Tsukushi enters the main house and meets with Azuki and Suo. They thought the warehouse was already feeble and that the storm had taken it down. The storm is growing stronger, and Yoto and his harems are stranded in Suo's mansion house. The river nearby overflows and the flood is threatening to destroy the mansion. Tsukushi decides to make another round to check the house and everyone decides to go with her. Tsukushi shows them a hidden door full of Suo's photos. Tsukushi calls it a museum and Suo's photos are the treasures. Suo sees her embarrassing photos as a kid and starts ripping them from the wall. After a while, Tsukushi sees Yoto giving respects to their dead parents at the altar. She sits with him and pays her respects as well. After that, Yoto tells her to take back her wishes from the cat statue. She takes back her wish, but nothing happens. Yoto receives a call from outside and realizes that the storm is only happening in the vicinity of the mansion and that the storm still rages due to another unresolved wish.
台風で急行だよね。
はあ？さては夏バテでボケてんな。台風なんざ今日の朝には過ぎちまったじゃねえか。
Yoto then talks to Suo alone, who asks him to be her real brother to ensure they stay together. He gently declines wanting to maintain their current relationship. She also tells them she doesn't care if the house gets destroyed since it is too big for her and her sister to be living alone in it. The raging storm interrupts Yoto and Suo's chat. Suo is about to dive into the heart of the storm, so Yoto grabs her and hugs her from behind. While drenched in rain, Yoto tells her true feelings for Suo. Yoto reassures her they'll remain close even without a familial bond. Convinced, Suo agrees to let things return to normal and the storm finally subsides.
今度は僕の家においでよ。うちの家族と一緒にご飯を食べよう。その後トランプで遊ぼう。みんなで大貧民をしよう。そうやって遠いけど近い、遠いから楽しい。そんな付き合い方をしよう。
After a few days, everything is back to normal. Yoto pulls some records to clear some misunderstandings with Tsukushi and tells her that his made-up twin does not exist. Tsukushi still can't make logical sense and just starts telling him about family. She then gives Yoto a kiss which shocks him as everyone in the area starts clapping. Azuki also sees Tsukushi kissing Yoto and she instantly gets jealous, so she goes back to the statue and is definitely thinking of wishing for something. Yoto gives Suo a ride on his bike while going to school. Suo asks Yoto if he and Azuki were in a fight. He denies it but admits that Azuki is avoiding him. Yoto changes the topic about the sports festival and tells Suo he is excited about the girls in their swimsuits. Yoto is also participating in the relay race, so he asks Suo to help him practice. Sometime later, as they continue to plan for the sports festival, Yoto and Suo encounter a pink-haired girl named Emi, who clings to Yoto. During their conversation, Emi wishes for something on a small cat statue, and Ponta picks her up. They learn that Emi is the younger sister of Ponta, Yoto's best friend. Ponta asks Yoto to show Emi around school, and he agrees because aside from being a pervert, he is also a little interested in the young ones. As they tour the school, Emi learns that Yoto has a weird reputation and is nicknamed the Hentai Prince. She then wishes on her a miniature cat statue to make Yoto popular and to make the school more fun. Her wish transforms the school's architecture to resemble ancient Rome, and the students start wearing swimsuits as uniforms, calling Yoto Prince. This one girl even gives Yoto his underwear for his benefit. Everyone accepts this new reality as normal, but Azuki blames Yoto's impure thoughts for the change, and Suo urges him to reverse it. Yoto, however, insists he didn't make this wish. Later, Tsukushi tackles Yoto, who seems to be depressed about the current situation because of what Azuki and Suo thinks of him. Surprisingly, Tsukushi sides with Yoto and helps him prove his innocence. Hoping to impress Yoto's twin brother, they go to Yoto's house, where Tsukushi discovers pictures of Yoto and thinks of it as Yoto's twin. That's when Yoto recalls that Ponta never had a sister. His pet rabbit was named Emi. The next day, Yoto meets Ponta. He tells him that Yaji, his only little sister, has been missing for 2 days now. At school, Yoto tries to ask Azuki for help regarding Ponta's problems, but she just runs away from him. Azuki suddenly gets strangled in the net, and Yoto talks to her while freeing her.
なんでいつも変なことばっかりするの？
今回に限っては僕は何もしてないよ。近づくと逃げてるのは君だろ。
Yoto tells Azuki that she is jealous for nothing because Tsukushi is in love with his made-up twin brother and not with him. Azuki and Yoto finally make up, and she decides that she will help Yoto. Emi finds Suo singing and drawing at a fountain and comments about her monotone singing. Suo suddenly gets competitive and challenges Emi in a swimming race. Suo wins easily and Emi admits defeat. Emi tells Yoto and Suo that she had fun racing and that she is now satisfied. So she undoes her wish, but instead everyone loses their swimsuits and is left naked in the open. As it turns out, Emi makes multiple wishes and Yoto figures this out, which surprises Emi. Yoto and Emi continue chatting, and Yoto tells her to reverse everything now because Yajo has been missing, but Emi denies her involvement. Yoto tries to remember his memories with Emi, but he can't remember everything, which bores Emi. So she pushes Yoto into the water and tells him that she'll stop if Yoto plays with her. That night, Ponta informs Yoto that Azuki found a rabbit, reminiscing about how close Emi and Yoto used to be. The next morning, after confronting Emi about her careless wishes, Emi rudely speaks to Yoto, cancels all her wishes, and throws a rock at him as she leaves. However, Yoto later realizes not all Emi's wishes were undone, since part of the school still looked Italian. Emi is seen about to jump from the school tower. Azuki directs Yoto on how to reach her. Smiling, Azuki watches him rush to save Emi. Once he reaches her, Yoto talks to Emi, who is upset about being forgotten. As Emi shares memories of their first encounter, Yoto begins to vaguely recall when they first met. Their chat is suddenly disrupted by Azuki. However, Yoto quickly realizes that the voice isn't hers. It turns out the cat god has taken control of Azuki. The cat god reveals that it was Yoto's unconscious wish that transformed her school into an Italian setting, and that Emi was just a minor tool created to fulfill his desires.
猫神なんで小豆あずさの中に
彼女が願ったからさ、新しい自分になりたいと。
小豆あずさが願った。
僕は普段表には出ないけど、彼女の代わりに自分が請け負うこともある。ウサギの剣とかね。
お前何の目的でこんなことを小豆あずさにつけ込んで利用するなんて。
おいおい、僕は助けて。
Emi, reacting quickly, wishes for the cat god to go away, which would also endanger Azuki's body. The cat god offers Yoto a choice: cancel his wishes to save Azuki but lose Emi forever. Refusing to lose either, Yoto impulsively kisses Azuki, trying to help her regain control. This action surprisingly works, freeing her from the cat god's influence, canceling Yoto's wish, and sparing Emi. Come autumn season, and things are seemingly normal now. The huge cat statue in the warehouse is also missing, and Azuki has now fallen deeply in love with Yoto and is extra clingy, complicating his life further. After practice, Yoto meets with Tsukushi, who is concerned about her travel to Italy soon. Their chat is cut short when another schoolmate tells Yoto to stop being a pervert. So he takes her underwear and teases her with it using a fishing rod. Witnessing this makes Tsukushi even more worried about what will happen if she goes to Italy. At home, Yoto finds Suo in his room. Taking out her frustrations on his body pillow Barbara, Suo takes off Barbara's stuffing and goes inside to cover. Yoto sees Suo's feet hanging from inside Barbara, so as the pervert he is, he tickles Suo's feet. After a brief confrontation where she kicks him, Suo admits her jealousy over Yoto being close to other girls and wishes she could be the only one. Suo leaves after being disappointed and learning that she is not the one Yoto has known for the longest. After Suo leaves, Yoto sees a letter and some plane tickets to Italy beside the empty Barbara. The next day, Yoto is with Emi, who is also disappointed because Yoto is not giving her much attention. After that, Yoto goes to Suo's house where he is faced by Tsukushi. She tells him that Suo is out and asks for what he needs with her. Yoto gives Tsukushi the tickets and the letter that Suo left behind. Tsukushi asks Yoto to leave, but he tells her that he is the twin brother, which flusters Tsukushi. Yoto makes some confusing demands to Tsukushi, so she takes her to the house altar to have a wedding. Yoto clarifies the misunderstanding. Yoto is now having a chat with Tsukushi and she explains what the tickets are for. Yoto and Tsukushi continue chatting until she asks him if he does not remember their past together. Before he can think about it, Suo appears from his back and joins the conversation. They start looking for pictures around the mansion to help him remember, but can't find anything usable. Yoto leaves with Suo when Azuki sees them at a bus stop. Yoto talks with Azuki, which makes Suo out of place and a bit jealous. The bus arrives and Suo and Yoto have to leave Azuki. Inside the bus, Yoto and Suo continue chatting until they reach a playground. There, Suo makes a wish, but Yoto does not hear it. The cat god appears in the form of a rabbit and grants Suo's wish to go back to the past.
それではさようなら、横寺くん。
チェキコ
Yoto and Suo is sent to the same playground where they meet their younger versions. Yoto is concerned with their situation, but Suo is very calm because of her curse. They decided to meet first with Suo's mom to clarify some things. While on the bus, Yoto meets the young Azuki and keeps staring at her, which makes him more like a pervert. Finally, Yoto and Suo meet Yo-Yo's younger version. Suddenly, Suo lifts off her shirt and rubs her belly to Kid Yoto. Later, they also meet Suo's mom, Tsukasa. Suo tries to talk to her, but she can't reveal that she is her daughter, so she uses another name and introduces Yoto as her brother. Kid Yoto invites Yoto and Suo for dinner, and Tsukasa accepts them inside. She makes instant noodles and serves it to her guests, which shocks Yoto and thinks to himself how busy she is. After eating, Kid Yoto invites Yoto and Suo to sleep in the house without consulting with Tsukasa. In the end, Tsukasa still accepts the two and lets them sleep in her house. Tsukasa appears to be sick, so she leaves Yoto and Suo in the dining area with Kid Yoto. Kid Yoto reveals that Tsukasa lives alone, and they realize that Suo and Tsukushi does not live with her in this reality. While taking a bath, Yoto thinks hard about what is happening with his memory in the past. He gets up to get dressed and accidentally sneaks into Suo, who is trying on some new underwear. He notices that Suo's watermelons are getting bigger and gets excited about it, so she knocks him down. Yoto wakes up in the hallway and meets Tsukasa wearing some weird costume.
うわ巨大ネズミ
なんだお前か。
Yoto clarifies with Tsukasa if she lives alone and if she has a family. She reveals that her daughters are living in Italy.
だし、娘もいたんだよ。二人もな。家族がバラバラになる前は懐いてくれてた。
Yoto, Suo, and Kid Yuto stay up late while Tsukasa keeps doing some work. While the group is chatting, Yoto realizes that Tsukushi's memories are not accurate. The next morning, Kid Suo arrives from Italy, and after her kid is Kid Tsukushi, which shocks Yoto. The two kids wanted to talk with her mom about why she broke her promise and does not care about them. Yoto tries to calm Kid Tsukushi, but she soon gets more furious and starts throwing stones. She hits Tsukasa and makes her forehead bleed as she comes to welcome the two kids. The two kids move away after seeing their mother telling her how she does not love them. Tsukasa drinks with Yoto and Suo to forget what happened. Tsukasa also makes Kid Yoto to dress up as a girl while she tells her story. On the other hand, Suo, who is drunk, suddenly starts clinging to Yoto and tells him that he belongs with her as she licks his neck. Suo wakes up and finds Tsukasa sewing handmade dresses for her daughters. Suo asks why she did not give it to them and instead she let them go. They continue chatting and Suo tells Tsukasa that it is not too late for her to chase her daughters. Tsukasa's sickness gets worse, so Yo-Yo and Suo send her to a hospital. Because of her sickly body, she can't go to Italy and meet her daughters. Kid Yoto takes care of Tsukasa as he chats with his older version and makes him realize that Tsukasa loves her daughters. At the hotel, Kid Suo and Kid Tsukashi are about to leave when Yoto stops them.
貴様、なぜ私がここに泊まっていると分かった？
大人には何でもわかるんだよ。
He convinces them to meet Tsukasa once again, but Kid Tsukashi is hesitant. Luckily, Kid Suo steps inside a car and they go back to where Tsukasa is. When they arrive, Suo did not realize that it was her younger version and her sister had arrived. Suo and Yoto dress the two kids in a dress that Tsukasa personally made. There are a lot of handmade dresses scattered, and Yoto explains to Kid Tsukashi that this is the only way for Tsukasa to express her love for her daughters. Realizing this, they rush to Tsukasa's room and see Tsukasa struggling even more. Kid Tsukushi asks Yoto to help her mom and wishes to make her better. That is when Kid Yoto introduces them to the cat statue. Kid Yoto explains to everyone the mechanics and how to use the cat statues. Kid Yoto offers his memories of Tsukasa to Kid Tsukashi, and this explains why Yoto does not have clear memories from his past.
ところへ。
Suo does not approve of what Kid Yoto did, so she tries to stop it, but Yoto cancels Suo's wish to get back to the past and they are sent back to their original time once again. Tsukasa wakes up and the kids warm up to her, which makes her happy. Back to Yoto and Suo, they are talking about their realizations and are emotional about what they've just witnessed. Yoto and Suo go back home where they see Tsukashi wearing the weird costume that Tsukasa used to wear. Suo thanks Yoto for sharing his memories of their mom with him and decides that she will not be leaving for Italy to stay with Yoto, so he won't forget her. Yoto finally confesses his feelings to Suo and tells her that she is the most precious to him. Suo demands Yoto to prove his words by asking him to kiss her. Days later, the group, including Yoto and his harem, heads to an amusement park for a group date. They enjoy various rides despite Suo's ongoing jealousy about sharing Yoto. By the end of the day, it's clear that she remains to be his number one.